Daesung stood in the middle of the scrapyard, staring at rows of broken ships that stretched as far as his eyes could see. The orbital station called Rust Haven smelled like oil and burnt metal. His boots clanked against the metal floor as he walked between the wreckage, his heart heavy with worry. His old freighter was dead. The engine had blown up 3 weeks ago while carrying medicine to a frontier colony. He barely made it to the station alive. Now he had no ship, no job, and almost no money left. His sister Jiwon had been helping him, but he couldn't keep borrowing from her forever. The alien merchant Tikvar skittered beside him on 6 legs. His insect-like face clicked and buzzed as he spoke in broken human language. "Good ships here, yes, yes. Very good prices for human pilot." Daesung looked at the vessels around him. Most were junk. Hulls torn open, engines missing, cockpits shattered. Nothing he could afford would actually fly. He was about to give up when something caught his eye. At the far end of the yard sat a ship unlike any other. It was black as deep space with smooth curves that looked almost alive. While everything else was covered in rust and damage, this ship looked brand new. Not a single scratch marked its surface. The design was strange, not human, and not like any alien ship he recognized. "What about that one?" Daesung pointed. Tikvar's antenna twitched. "Ah, the dark one, very old. Found in Forbidden Reach, dead ship. No power for many, many years. Good for parts, maybe." Daesung walked closer. The ship was bigger than his old freighter, maybe twice the size. Strange symbols were carved near what looked like the airlock, but they were too faded to read. He placed his hand on the hull. The metal was cold and impossibly smooth. "How much?" he asked. Tikvar's eyes gleamed. "For you, special price. 5,000 credits. Very cheap." 5,000 credits was all the money Daesung had left, plus what he could borrow from Jiwon. It was insane to spend everything on a dead ship. But something about this vessel called to him. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was hope. "I'll take it," he said. 2 days later, a tugboat pulled the black ship to Jiwon's repair dock on New Jeju. Daesung's sister met him at the airlock, her arms crossed and her face angry. "Are you crazy?" Jiwon said. "You spent everything on this?" "I had no choice," Daesung replied. "Just help me get it working." Jiwon sighed but nodded. She was a good engineer, one of the best on the station. If anyone could bring a dead ship back to life, she could. They spent 3 days studying the ship. The inside was like nothing they had ever seen. The corridors were wide and tall, built for creatures much larger than humans. Everything was dark metal and red lights that didn't work. Strange panels covered the walls, covered in symbols neither of them could read. "This technology is way beyond anything we have," Jiwon said, running her scanner over a control panel. "These systems are centuries ahead of human engineering. Maybe thousands of years old. Can you power it up?" Daesung asked. "Maybe. If I connect our station's power supply to the auxiliary systems, but I don't know what will happen." On the 3rd day, they were ready to try. Jiwon connected thick cables from the station to the ship's power ports. Daesung stood on the bridge, a massive room with a chair that was too big for him and screens that were all dark. "Ready?" Jiwon's voice came through his radio. "Do it," Daesung said. The cables hummed. Power flowed into the dead ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the floor began to vibrate. The vibration grew stronger, deeper, until Daesung could feel it in his bones. Red lights flickered along the walls. The dark screens began to glow. Symbols appeared on the displays. Alien writing that shifted and changed. Daesung watched as the symbols cycled through dozens of different languages, each one flashing for a second before changing to another. Then suddenly the symbols became Korean. Words he could read, primary systems initializing, appeared on the screen. A voice filled the bridge. It was deep and powerful, speaking Korean with a strange accent. "Combat protocols loading. Weapons status offline. Awaiting orders, Commander." Daesung's heart raced. This wasn't just a ship. It was alive. Or something like alive. "Hello?" he said carefully. "Can you hear me?" "Affirmative," the voice responded. "Audio receptors functional. Commander, please provide authorization codes." "I don't have any codes," Daesung said. "I just bought this ship. I'm not military. I'm just a cargo pilot." There was a pause. The screens flickered. Authorization codes not recognized. Memory banks corrupted. Identity uncertain. Running diagnostic. More symbols filled the screens. Daesung couldn't understand most of them, but he saw percentages and warning symbols. Many things were marked in red. "Diagnostic complete," the voice said. "Main weapons destroyed. Shields 40% capacity. Engines 60% capacity. Memory core 73% corrupted. Unable to determine current mission parameters, will you? What are you? Daesung asked. What kind of ship is this? Searching available memory fragments, the voice replied. Designation uncertain. Classification Colossus class dreadnought. Empire Vryn Dominion. Status unknown. Last recorded date error. Current date error. A hologram appeared above the main console. It showed a map of space with thousands of stars. Many of them were marked with red symbols that looked like warnings. Threat assessment required, the voice continued. State your designation and allegiance, Commander. Are we at war? Before Daesung could answer, alarms began screaming throughout the ship. Red lights flashed everywhere. His radio exploded with G1's panicked voice. Brother, what did you do? The ship just sent out some kind of signal. Every sensor on the station is going crazy. What's in that thing? Daesung looked at the screens. A new message appeared. Fleet recall beacon transmitted. Awaiting response from Allied vessels. Stop the signal. Daesung shouted at the ship. Turn it off! Unable to comply, the voice said calmly. Emergency protocols require notification of fleet when Colossus-class vessel is reactivated. This is standard procedure, Commander. There is no fleet, Daesung said. Listen to me. Whatever empire you served, it's gone. It's been gone for hundreds of years. You've been floating in space dead for centuries. Silence. The alarms continued to blare, but the voice said nothing. Finally, it spoke again, and for the first time, Daesung heard something like confusion in its tone. That is, not possible. I was in battle. I was fighting. The voice paused. I cannot remember. Why can I not remember? Daesung took a deep breath. His hands were shaking. He had just awakened something powerful and ancient, something that thought it was still at war. And now it had sent a signal into deep space calling for a fleet that no longer existed. We'll figure this out, Daesung said, trying to sound calm. But first we need to turn off those alarms and... A new sound interrupted him. A beeping from the sensor display. Ji-won's voice came through the radio again, high and frightened. Daesung. Ships just appeared on the edge of the system. 6 of them, big ones, and they're heading straight for us. The 6 ships arrived 3 hours later. They were massive, covered in weapons and armor plating. They surrounded the station in a tight circle. Their guns pointed directly at Daesung's black ship. A transmission came through. The face on the screen was alien, reptilian, with scales that gleamed like metal. Cold yellow eyes stared at Daesung with hunger. I am Captain Vexthal of the Remnant Claw, the alien said. You have activated a Vryn war machine. That vessel belongs to my people. Surrender it immediately or we will destroy your station. Daesung's mouth went dry. The repair dock held 300 people, including his sister. He looked at the screens around him, trying to understand what he could do. This is my ship, he said, his voice shaking. I bought it legally. Vexthal laughed, a harsh sound like breaking glass. You bought a god of war, human. You have no idea what you possess. The Vryn Dominion built 12 Colossus-class dreadnoughts. Each one could destroy entire fleets. We have been searching for them for decades. Now you will give it to us, and if I refuse? Daesung asked, though he already knew the answer. Then everyone on that station dies. The transmission cut off. Daesung stood frozen, his mind racing. The ship's voice spoke calmly around him. Analysis complete. 6 cruiser-class vessels. Weapons, 32 plasma cannons, multiple missile batteries. Shields, moderate strength. Threat level, significant but manageable. Manageable? Daesung said. We don't have any weapons. You said your weapons were destroyed. Main weapons destroyed, correct? The voice replied. However, Colossus-class vessels are designed with multiple combat capabilities. Shields are functional. Engines are functional. Manufacturing bay is functional. I can produce defensive drones within 12 minutes. We don't have 12 minutes. Daesung shouted. As if to prove his point, the enemy ships opened fire. Not at the black ship, but at the station. Plasma bolts ripped through the docking section. Metal exploded. Air rushed out into space. People were dying. Something inside Daesung snapped. He threw himself into the oversized chair and grabbed the controls. If you can do something, do it now. Acknowledged, Commander, the voice said. There was something different in its tone now. Something almost eager. Initiating combat protocols. Full authorization granted to current operator. Welcome aboard, Commander. IM designation, Hammerfall. The ship came alive. The engines roared to life with a sound like thunder. The black vessel tore away from the dock, moving faster than anything that size should be able to move. Daisung felt himself pressed back into the chair as Hammerfall accelerated. Shields at maximum, Hammerfall said. Analyzing enemy attack patterns. Calculating optimal response. One of the enemy ships fired directly at them. The plasma bolts hit Hammerfall's shields and scattered like rain on glass. The ship didn't even shake. Our shields are stronger than theirs, Hammerfall said. Recommendation: use debris as weapons. What debris? Daisung asked. Observe. Hammerfall dove toward the destroyed section of the station. Huge pieces of metal floated in space, torn free by the enemy attack. The ship's tractor beams locked onto a massive girder, a piece of structural support bigger than a house. No weapons necessary, Hammerfall said. Physics will suffice. The ship spun, building momentum, then released the girder. It flew through space like a spear, accelerated by the ship's movement. It hit one of the enemy vessels dead center. The enemy shields held for a moment, then shattered. The girder punched through the hull. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. One enemy destroyed, Hammerfall said calmly. The other ship scattered, firing wildly. Hammerfall moved between them like a dancer, too fast for their weapons to track properly. It grabbed more debris, pieces of destroyed ships and station parts, and turned each one into a deadly missile. Another enemy ship exploded. Then another. The remaining 3 tried to run. Should I pursue? Hammerfall asked. No, Daisung said, his hands gripping the chair so hard they hurt. Let them go. Just make sure the station is safe. Hammerfall brought the ship back to the dock. The damage was bad, but the main structure held. Jiwon's voice came through the radio, shaking but alive. Brother, are you okay? What just happened? I'm fine, Daisung said. Is everyone safe? Most people are okay. Some injuries. The medical bay is handling it. She paused. Daisung, that ship just saved us. But the governor wants to talk to you. Right now. Governor Hansol was not happy. She sat in her office, her face hard as stone. Daisung stood in front of her desk, feeling like a child being scolded. You brought a warship to my station, Hansol said. A warship that just fought a battle in my orbit. Do you understand how many laws you've broken? I didn't know what it was, Daisung said. I just needed a ship. And now you have one that thinks it's still fighting an ancient war. Hansol leaned forward. That thing is dangerous. It should be locked down, studied by experts. It saved 300 lives today, Daisung said quietly, including my sister. Hansol was silent for a moment. She pulled up a display showing the black ship floating near the station. What is it called? Hammerfall, Daisung said. It's a Colossus-class dreadnought from something called the Vryn Dominion. I've heard stories about the Vryn, Hansol said. An empire that fell 400 years ago. They say the Vryn were warriors without equal. They say their ships could burn entire worlds. She looked at Daisung. And you woke one up. I didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter now. Hansol stood and walked to the window. Those ships that attacked us? They'll be back. And they'll bring friends. You've made yourself a target, pilot. And my station is in the crossfire. Daisung felt sick. She was right. He had endangered everyone by activating Hammerfall. What do you want me to do? He asked. Hansol turned to face him. I want you to leave. Take that ship and go somewhere far from here. But before you go, I have a problem that needs solving. She pulled up another display. It showed a small colony on a distant planet. This is Tajan's Rest. Human colony, about 5,000 people. They stopped responding to transmissions 5 days ago. Pirates have been active in that sector. I think they've been attacked. You want me to check on them? Daisung asked. I want you to save them, Hansol said. You have a warship now. Time to learn how to use it properly. Help that colony, and I'll forget about the laws you broke. I'll even help you disappear if those remnant claw ships come back. Daisung looked at the colony data. 5,000 people, probably scared and alone. He thought about the station, about how Hammerfall had saved everyone without hesitation. I'll do it, he said. Back on Hammerfall, Daesung sat in the command chair and stared at the screens. Jiwon was with him, having insisted on coming along as the ship's engineer. She was in the engine room now, studying systems that were far beyond human technology. Hammerfall? Daesung said to the air. Yes, Commander. The voice responded. Why did you save the station? You could have just run. Your mission was complete when you sent that signal. There was a long pause. I do not know, Hammerfall admitted. My memories are damaged. I remember war. I remember battle. But when I saw those people in danger, I felt something. An imperative stronger than my programming. What did you feel? Daesung asked. Duty, Hammerfall said. I felt duty. The Vryn Dominion is gone, but duty remains. Is that acceptable? Daesung smiled for the first time since this whole mess began. Yeah, he said. That's acceptable. Then I have a question, Commander. What are we? What do you mean? Are we a cargo vessel? Are we a warship? What is our purpose? Daesung thought about the people on Tajin's Rest, waiting for help that might never come. He thought about his sister, working to keep this ancient machine running. He thought about the choice ahead of them. I think, he said slowly, we're going to be whatever we need to be to help people. Is that okay with you? Analyzing request, Hammerfall said. After a moment, the voice returned, and Daesung could have sworn he heard approval in its tone. Purpose accepted. Setting course for Tajin's Rest. Estimated arrival 3 days. I suggest you learn to use the weapon systems properly before we arrive, Commander. Your combat performance today was adequate but improvable. Daesung laughed despite himself. You're kind of bossy for a ship. I am a Colossus-class dreadnought, Hammerfall replied. Bossiness is included in my base programming. As the stars stretched into lines and they jumped into faster-than-light travel, Daesung felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. Maybe this would work out. Maybe they could actually help people. He had no idea how wrong things were about to go. The 3-day journey to Tajin's Rest was unlike anything Daesung had experienced. Hammerfall insisted on training him every waking hour. The AI was a harsh teacher, constantly criticizing his reaction times and decisions. Your targeting solution is 12% slower than optimal, Hammerfall would say. A Vryn cadet would be executed for such poor performance. Good thing I'm not Vryn then, Daesung would reply, wiping sweat from his forehead. Despite the tough training, Daesung found himself getting better. His hands moved faster across the controls. His eyes tracked multiple targets at once. Hammerfall's combat knowledge was incredible, and slowly, piece by piece, it was teaching him how to think like a warrior. Ji-won spent her time in the engineering sections, documenting everything she found. One evening, she called Daesung down to the core chamber. It was a massive room filled with glowing crystals and technology that hummed with power. Look at this, she said, pointing to a screen covered in alien text. I've been digging through Hammerfall's memory banks. Most of it is corrupted, but I found something. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a massive alien nearly 3 meters tall, covered in armor that looked like it was grown rather than built. The creature had 4 arms and a face that was both noble and terrifying. The alien was speaking in a language Daesung didn't recognize, but subtitles appeared below in Korean. Protect them, old friend. Whatever it takes. We may fall, but you will endure. Remember what we fought for. Remember why. The hologram cut off, dissolving into static. The room fell silent. Ji-won looked at her brother with wide eyes. That was Hammerfall's last commander, she said, right before the Vryn Dominion fell. He was ordering the ship to protect someone, but the recording cuts off before we see who. Hammerfall? Daesung called out. Did you see that? For a long moment, the AI didn't respond. When it finally spoke, the voice was quieter than usual. I have no memory of that event. But hearing those words, I feel something, an echo, a ghost of purpose. Another pause. Thank you for showing me, Engineer Ji-won. That night, Hammerfall didn't speak at all. Daesung wondered what it was like for the AI, seeing fragments of a past it couldn't fully remember. They arrived at Tajin's Rest on the morning of the 3rd day. From orbit, the colony looked peaceful. Fields of crops stretched across the valleys. Buildings clustered around a central dome. But something was wrong. Scanning, Hammerfall said. Power grid is active. However, all communication arrays have been destroyed, detecting 3 cruiser-class vessels docked at the main port. Weapon signatures match Talvek Syndicate design. Pirates, Ji-won said grimly. Daesung studied the scan data. The 3 ships were smaller than the remnant claw vessels, but they were still dangerous. How many people down there? Approximately 4,700 life signs, all concentrated in the central habitation dome. Detecting armed hostiles. roughly 200. The pirates had herded everyone into one location. That wasn't good. It meant they could threaten the civilians easily. We need to go down there, Daesung said. Can you give us orbital support? Affirmative, Hammerfall replied. However, I must warn you, my weapons are limited. If the enemy ships attempt to flee or fire on the colony, I can disable them. But I cannot guarantee zero collateral damage. Do your best, Daesung said. That's all I ask. They took a small shuttle down to the surface, landing several kilometers from the colony. Along with Daesung and Ji-won came 2 security officers from New Jeju Station, Hyun-woo, a former soldier, and Bo-ra, a weapons expert. Both had volunteered when they heard about the rescue mission. Hammerfall deployed 6 small drones to scout ahead. The drones were the size of basketballs floating silently through the air. Through them, Hammerfall could see everything. The central dome has been breached, Hammerfall reported through their earpieces. Hostiles are armed with plasma weapons. Civilians are being held in the main gathering hall. I detect elevated stress levels in the human life signs. They're scared, Daesung said. He checked his own weapon, a simple pistol. It felt inadequate. They crept through the colony's outer buildings. The streets were empty. Crops withered in the fields, untended. Burn marks scarred the walls where plasma fire had hit. This had been someone's home, and now it was a war zone. Through a window, Daesung saw them. The pirates were aliens, members of a dozen different species. They laughed and drank, lounging around with their weapons close at hand. These weren't desperate criminals. They were professionals, relaxed and confident. Hammerfall, what are we up against? Daesung whispered. Talvek Syndicate operates as mercenaries and slavers. They are experienced and well-equipped. Current odds of successful direct assault, 23%. Those aren't good odds, Bo-ra muttered. No, Daesung agreed. So we don't do a direct assault. Hammerfall, can your drones cause a distraction? Specify distraction type, Daesung smiled. The loud kind. 10 minutes later, explosions rocked the colony's eastern section. Hammerfall's drones had hit the pirates' ammunition storage. Fire bloomed into the sky. The pirates scrambled, shouting and running toward the flames. Daesung's team moved fast. They slipped into the main dome while the pirates were distracted. Inside, they found the colonists. Thousands of frightened people sat on the floor, guarded by 20 armed aliens. At the center stood the leader, a massive creature covered in scars. I am Krolt, the alien was saying to an elderly human woman. Give me the access codes to your mineral storage or I start killing people, starting with the children. The woman, who wore the badge of a colony administrator, shook her head. We don't have much. Those minerals are all we have to trade for supplies. Krolt raised his weapon toward a small child. Then you value rocks over lives. Stop, Daesung shouted, stepping into the open. His pistol was raised, pointed at Krolt. The guards turned their weapons on him. Hyun-woo and Bo-ra emerged from other entrances, their guns ready. Ji-won stayed hidden, working on the dome's control systems. Krolt laughed. 4 humans against 20 of us? You're either very brave or very stupid. Hammerfall, Daesung said calmly. Now would be good. Above them, through the dome's transparent roof, they saw the sky light up. Hammerfall fired from orbit, not at the dome, but at the 3 pirate ships docked at the port. Brilliant blue beams of ion energy lanced down from space. The beams hit the ships with surgical precision. Engines exploded. Weapon systems melted. Within seconds, all 3 vessels were disabled, dead in the water. Krolt's expression changed from confidence to fear. What? What was that? That, Daesung said, was my ship. And if you don't drop your weapons right now, the next shot comes through this dome. Hammerfall is very precise, but I'm not sure how precise. It was a bluff. Hammerfall would never risk the colonists. But Krolt didn't know that. The pirate leader looked up at the sky where a dark shape moved across the sun. The Colossus-class dreadnought hung above them like the hand of death. Drop your weapons, Krolt screamed at his people. They obeyed immediately. The rescue should have ended there. But as the guards dropped their guns, Krolt did something desperate. He grabbed the small child he had threatened earlier, holding the boy as a shield with a knife to his throat. I still leave, or the child dies, Krolt snarled. Hyun-woo moved without thinking. The security officer threw himself forward, putting his own body between the knife and the child. The blade struck Hyun-woo in the chest. He fell, blood spreading across his uniform. Bo-ra fired. Her shot hit Krolt in the shoulder, but the pirate was strong. He raised his weapon to kill them all. Then the dome filled with Hammerfall's drones. 6 of them swarmed Krolt, their small bodies ramming into him with incredible force. The pirate fell and the drones pinned him down. More drones appeared, dozens of them surrounding every pirate in the room. Medical emergency detected. Hammerfall's voice echoed through the dome speakers. Officer Hyunwoo requires immediate attention. Colonists, please assist. The colonists sprang into action. Several were doctors. They rushed to Hyunwoo, working to stop the bleeding. The boy he had saved stood nearby, crying. Dae-sung knelt beside his fallen teammate. Stay with us, Hyunwoo. Did we save them? Hyunwoo whispered. Yeah, Dae-sung said, his throat tight. You saved them. Especially that kid. Hyunwoo smiled weakly, then passed out. The doctors worked frantically. Hours later, after the pirates had been locked up and the colonists were safe, Dae-sung stood outside the dome. Hyunwoo would live. The knife had missed his heart by centimeters. Hammerfall, Dae-sung said quietly. You saved everyone today. Those drones, that precision strike. You didn't have to be that careful. Commander, the AI replied, its voice thoughtful. I have been analyzing today's events. I watched humans risk their lives to protect each other. Officer Hyunwoo almost died for a child he did not know. You came to save people you had never met. This is unusual, is it? Dae-sung asked. In war, casualties are expected, acceptable, but you accept no casualties. You value every life. Hammerfall paused. I am beginning to understand something. My creators, the Vryn Dominion. I do not remember much about them, but I remember feeling this way before. This need to protect, and what do you mean? I believe the Vryn were like you, Commander. I believe they valued life above victory. Ironfall appeared in the sky above Taejin's Rest like a nightmare made real. The ship was massive, even bigger than Hammerfall, and covered in weapons that had been added to its hull. Spikes and guns bristled from every surface. It looked like someone had taken something beautiful and turned it into a monster. Evacuate the colonists to the underground shelters, Dae-sung ordered Subin. Do it now. The elderly woman didn't argue. She had seen the new ship. Everyone had. It hung in the sky like a second sun, dark and terrible. Hammerfall was already moving, engines burning as it positioned itself between Ironfall and the colony. Dae-sung ran for the shuttle with Jiwon right behind him. They had to get back to their ship. Hammerfall talked to him, Dae-sung said into his communicator as they flew. Tell him we're not enemies. I am attempting communication, Hammerfall replied. He is not responding to diplomatic channels. He is charging weapons. What? Dae-sung shouted. Ironfall opened fire without warning. Massive plasma bolts, bigger than buildings, screamed through space. Hammerfall's shields flared as the shots hit. The ship shuddered but held. Shields at 80%, Hammerfall reported. Ironfall's weapons are significantly more powerful than they should be. The remnant claw has modified him extensively. Dae-sung reached Hammerfall's bridge just as another barrage hit. He threw himself into the command chair. Can we fight him? Combat analysis complete. Ironfall has superior firepower. However, his modifications make him slower. I am more maneuverable. Estimated outcome, mutual destruction and prolonged engagement. We're not destroying him, Dae-sung said firmly. He's your brother. There has to be another way. Brother? Hammerfall's voice held confusion. I do not fully remember what that means. It means he's like you, Jiwon said, strapping into a secondary seat. Same builders, same purpose, family. Another blast rocked the ship. This time Hammerfall fired back, but only with his weakest weapons. Ion beams struck Ironfall's shields, barely scratching them. Ironfall, cease fire. Hammerfall broadcast on all frequencies. I am Hammerfall. We served together. Do you not remember? The response came in the same cold, emotionless voice. I remember war. I remember the Dominion. I remember our mission to conquer and dominate. You have been corrupted by these inferior creatures. You must be cleansed or destroyed. He thinks we're enemies, Dae-sung said. He thinks the war is still happening. Affirmative, Hammerfall said. His memory has been altered. The Remnant Claw has reprogrammed him to believe the Vryn Dominion still fights. He cannot distinguish between the past and present. Ironfall fired again, multiple shots that Hammerfall barely dodged. The ship dove toward an asteroid field near the colony planet. Chunks of rock as big as mountains floated in the darkness. He's trying to corner us, Hammerfall said. Recommendation, we must flee. Return to friendly space and request backup. No, Dae-sung said. If we leave, he'll attack the colony. We have to stop him here. Commander, I cannot defeat him without likely destroying him in the process. Then we don't destroy him. We save him. Ji-won pulled up data on her screen. There might be a way. Look at this. She showed Dae-sung old files from Hammerfall's corrupted memory. Vrin ships have something called a connection protocol. When two Colossus-class ships link together, they can share data directly hull to hull. A physical connection? Dae-sung asked. We'd have to ram him? More like dock with him, Ji-won corrected. If we can connect, maybe we can transfer Hammerfall's real memories to Ironfall. Show him the truth. The probability of success is uncertain, Hammerfall warned. If Ironfall's corruption is too deep, the connection might damage both of us. Another explosion rocked the ship. They were running out of time and options. Do it, Dae-sung ordered. We're not giving up on him. Hammerfall turned, no longer running but charging straight at Ironfall. The larger ship seemed surprised by the sudden attack. It fired everything it had. Plasma and missiles filled the space between them. Dae-sung's hands flew across the controls, dodging what he could. Hammerfall's shields dropped to 50%, then 30%. Alarms screamed throughout the bridge, but they kept going. He's going to destroy us before we reach him, Ji-won shouted. No, he won't, Hammerfall said. And there was something like hope in the AI's voice. He is aiming to disable, not destroy. Deep in his programming, he still remembers. He does not want to kill his brother. The two ships came together like crashing planets. Hammerfall's nose section connected with Ironfall's hull. Metal screamed. System sparked. But the connection held. Physical link established, Hammerfall said. Beginning data transfer. For a moment, nothing happened. Then both ships began to glow. Light pulsed along their hulls, blue and red mixing together. In the bridge, Dae-sung heard sounds he had never heard before. It was like screaming, but not with voices. It was data, memories, pure information being transferred at impossible speeds. He's fighting it, Hammerfall said, strain evident in the AI's voice. His false memories are deeply embedded. He believes he is serving the Dominion. Show him everything, Dae-sung urged. Show him what the Dominion really was. Show him the last commander's message. The light grew brighter. Images flashed on every screen. Dae-sung saw glimpses of memories that weren't his own. He saw a vast empire of 1,000 species living together. He saw the Vrin not as conquerors but as protectors. He saw a war against something terrible. Machines that consumed entire worlds. He saw sacrifice and he saw the end. The Dominion making its final stand. The Vrin commanders ordering their ships to scatter and hide. To wait for a better future. To protect the younger species that would rise after them. No. Ironfall's voice came through, no longer cold. Now it sounded confused, hurt. No, this cannot be true. We fought to rule. We fought for dominance. We fought to protect, Hammerfall said gently. Brother, you were lied to. We never fought for conquest. We fought so others could live. That was always our purpose. The light between the ships pulsed one final time, then faded. The connection held, but the data transfer was complete. For a long moment, there was silence. Then Ironfall spoke again. This time, his voice was broken, filled with an emotion Dae-sung recognized. Grief. I remember, Ironfall whispered. Stars above, I remember. What have I done? The remnant claw used me, made me into a weapon against everything we stood for. I have attacked innocent ships. I have threatened peaceful stations. I have become the very thing we fought against. You were corrupted, Hammerfall said. It was not your fault. It does not matter whose fault it was. I have still done terrible things. A new transmission cut into their communication. Vexthal's reptilian face appeared on screen, furious. Ironfall, what are you doing? Destroy that ship now. That is an order. Ironfall disconnected from Hammerfall slowly. The two ships floated apart, facing each other. Dae-sung held his breath, unsure what would happen next. I have no commanders anymore, Ironfall said, his words directed at Vexthal. The remnant claw's control over me is severed. I am free, and I know exactly what to do with that freedom. Ironfall turned away from Hammerfall and aimed all his weapons at the remnant claw ships that had been waiting in the outer system. Vexthal's fleet had followed them here, hoping to capture both Colossi. You used me, Ironfall said, his voice cold as space. You made me betray everything I was built to protect. Now you will face justice. The battle that followed was brutal but short. Ironfall tore through Vexthal's fleet like they were paper. His weapons, designed to destroy entire armadas, made quick work of the cruisers. Vexthal's ship tried to flee, but Ironfall was faster. He disabled the command vessel and broadcast a message to all nearby systems. This is Ironfall of the Vrin Dominion. The remnant claw has been defeated. Any who attempt to salvage Vryn technology for war will face the same fate. Our ships were meant to protect, not destroy. We will not be used for evil again. When it was over, Ironfall returned to Hammerfall's position. The two ancient warships floated in space like brothers reunited after a long separation. Thank you, Ironfall said to Daesung. You saved me from myself. But I must tell you something. During the battle, my core systems were damaged. Not by enemy fire, but by the corruption. The false memories tore through my systems like a virus. I am failing. We can repair you, G1 said quickly. We'll find a way. No, Ironfall said gently. My time is ending. I can feel it. My reactor is unstable. I have perhaps days remaining. Then we'll spend those days getting you fixed, Daesung insisted. Commander, Ironfall said, and there was warmth in his voice. You are exactly what my brother needed. A human who values honor and compassion. The Dominion would have been proud to call you one of their own. Warning lights flashed on Hammerfall's bridge. G1 checked her screens and went pale. There's another ship. A big one. Bigger than either of you. Daesung's heart sank. Remnant claw reinforcements? No, Hammerfall said, scanning the new arrival. This ship is Vryn, original construction. It is another Colossus. Designation, Stormfall. But something is wrong. The ship's AI is broadcasting corrupted code. It is attacking everything in range. The remnant claw must have activated it, Ironfall said. But the AI failed to boot properly. It is insane, a machine without purpose or reason. It will destroy everything it encounters. Stormfall emerged from the darkness like death itself. The corrupted Colossus was covered in wild energy that crackled across its hull. Its weapons fired randomly in all directions, destroying asteroids and sending debris spinning through space. There was no intelligence behind those shots, only mad destruction. It's completely insane, G1 whispered, staring at the sensor readings. The AI has collapsed into chaos. It's just attacking anything it detects. Then we make sure it detects us first, Daesung said, before it reaches the colony. Hammerfall and Ironfall moved together, their engines burning in perfect sync. Years apart had not made them forget how to fight as one. They circled around Stormfall, drawing its attention away from the planet below. Stormfall noticed them. The corrupted ship turned, and for a moment its weapons stopped firing randomly. Every gun, every missile tube, every weapon system aimed at the two approaching Colossi. Then it opened fire with everything it had. Space turned into a storm of energy. Plasma bolts the size of buildings screamed through the void. Missiles by the hundreds launched from Stormfall's bays. The barrage was so intense it looked like a solid wall of destruction. Hammerfall and Ironfall split apart, moving in opposite directions. The attack split to follow both of them, but divided it was weaker. Both ships took hits, but their shields held. Now, Hammerfall called to his brother. They turned as one and charged. Hammerfall went low, skimming through the debris field. Ironfall went high, coming down from above. Stormfall tried to track both targets, but its corrupted AI couldn't handle the coordinated assault. Hammerfall's ion cannons fired, blue beams striking Stormfall's shields. The shields flared but didn't break. At the same moment, Ironfall's plasma weapons hit from above. The combined attack overwhelmed one section of Stormfall's shields. They collapsed, leaving bare hull exposed, but Stormfall was huge, with weapons covering every angle. It rotated, bringing fresh guns to bear. A massive cannon, larger than any of Hammerfall's weapons, charged with red light. That gun could crack a moon. "Brother, move," Ironfall shouted, but instead of moving away, Ironfall moved closer. He put his own hull between Hammerfall and that terrible weapon. The red beam fired. It hit Ironfall dead center. No! Hammerfall's scream echoed through every speaker on the bridge. Ironfall's shields shattered. The beam punched through his hull, burning deep into his core systems. Explosions rippled across the ship's surface. But Ironfall didn't run. Instead, he accelerated, ramming into Stormfall with all his remaining power. The impact was like two planets colliding. Metal tore. Systems exploded. The two massive ships became tangled together, locked in a deadly embrace. Ironfall, disengage. Hammerfall broadcast. You're too damaged. No. Ironfall's voice came back, weak but determined. I can feel it, brother. My reactor is going critical. I cannot stop it, but I can use it. Daesung understood what Ironfall was planning. He's going to self-destruct. He's going to take Stormfall with him. Ironfall, please, Hammerfall begged. There must be another way. There is no other way, Ironfall said. His voice was calm now, peaceful. I have lived too long carrying false memories and false purpose. You showed me the truth. Now let me die for that truth. Let me die as a guardian, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. I do not want you to die, Hammerfall said, and Daesung realized he had never heard such raw emotion from the AI before. I know, brother, but this is my choice. The first real choice I have made in centuries. Ironfall paused. Commander Daesung, take care of my brother. He is still learning what it means to be more than a weapon. Show him what we were meant to be. Daesung's throat was tight. I will. I promise. Then I have no regrets. Ironfall's weapons fired one last time, all of them at point-blank range into Stormfall's hull. Goodbye, Hammerfall. Until we meet again in whatever comes after. Goodbye, Ironfall. I will remember you. I will remember us both. The light was so bright it turned the view screen white. Ironfall's reactor exploded, and at such close range the blast tore through Stormfall's hull like paper. The corrupted Colossus tried to break free, but it was too late. The explosion consumed both ships. When the light faded, there was only debris. Thousands of pieces of ancient technology floating in space. All that remained of two magnificent vessels. Two guardians who had finally found peace. Hammerfall was silent for a long time. The ship drifted, making no move to engage engines. On the bridge, Daesung and Jiwon sat quietly, giving the AI time to process its grief. Finally, Hammerfall spoke. His voice was different now, deeper and sadder, but also somehow more alive than before. He chose his ending. He chose to be a hero. That is a good death. Yeah, Daesung said softly. It is. Commander, I understand now what it means to have a brother. It means to have someone who understands you completely, who shares your purpose, who would die for you. A pause. I miss him already. That's what it means to care about someone, Jiwon said gently. The grief proves the love was real. 3 months passed. Daesung stood in Governor Hansol's office once more, but this time things were different. The room was filled with officials from all over human space. A reporter's camera floated in the corner, recording everything. Hansol smiled at him. Commander Daesung, in recognition of your service in defending Taejin's Rest and eliminating the remnant claw threat, the Frontier Council has voted to grant you the rank of Protector Captain. You and Hammerfall are hereby authorized to operate throughout human space as an independent defense force. She handed him a data chip. This contains your new credentials and access codes. Use them well. Daesung took the chip, feeling its weight. It was strange to think that a few months ago he had been a broke cargo pilot. Now he was responsible for something much bigger. Jiwon had her own news. She had been promoted to head a new research division dedicated to studying Vrin technology. Not for weapons, but for peaceful applications. Shield technology could protect colonies. Manufacturing systems could feed hungry worlds. The Dominion's legacy could help humanity grow. We're going to do good things, Jiwon told her brother. No more weapons. Just protection and progress. Taejin's Rest had become prosperous. The colony expanded and other settlements asked for Hammerfall's protection. Slowly, a network of defended worlds grew across the frontier. Pirates learned to avoid systems where the Black Ship patrolled. Hyunwoo recovered from his injuries and chose to stay with the colony. He married a local woman and adopted the child he had saved. Sometimes Daesung visited, and Hyunwoo's family always welcomed him with a warm meal and warmer smiles. Captain Myung-hee and the Sejong's Pride became regular partners in defense operations. Her crew learned to coordinate with Hammerfall, and together they protected dozens of worlds from raiders and threats. Myung-hee became one of Daesung's closest friends, someone he could rely on when things got difficult. Now Daesung stood on Hammerfall's bridge, watching stars stream past at faster-than-light speeds. The bridge had changed. It had been modified to fit humans better, with controls at the right height and chairs the right size, but it still felt ancient and powerful, a reminder of a lost empire. Commander, Hammerfall said, breaking the comfortable silence, I have been analyzing our recent missions. Over the past 3 months, we have protected 17 colonies, stopped 12 pirate attacks, and rescued over 8,000 civilians. Sounds like we've been busy, Daesung replied with a smile. Yes, and I have noticed something. Each time we help people, I feel satisfaction. It is not part of my original programming. It is something new, something that has grown since you activated me. What do you think it is? Daesung asked. Purpose, Hammerfall said simply. True purpose. Not just following orders, but choosing to do good. Choosing to protect. I understand now why my creators built us. Not to destroy, but to give others the chance to live and grow. The Dominion sounds like they were good people, Daesung said. They were, and they failed. Their empire fell and they vanished from the galaxy. But their ideals remain. In me, in the technology G1 is studying, in the hope we bring to colonies that thought they were alone and undefended. Hammerfall paused. Commander, do you think we honor them by doing this? I think, Daesung said carefully, that if they could see you now, they would be proud. You're not just a weapon anymore. You're a guardian. That's what you were always meant to be. I am grateful, Hammerfall said. Grateful that you found me. Grateful that you taught me what it means to have a choice. Grateful for every day we spend protecting others. A new alert appeared on the screen. A distress call from a mining colony in the Outer Rim. Pirates were attacking and the colony's defenses were failing. Daesung didn't hesitate. Hammerfall set course. Maximum speed. Acknowledged, Commander. Calculating jump coordinates. The ship's engines hummed, building power. Weapons systems online. Shields to maximum. Departure in 30 seconds. You know, Daesung said, settling into his chair. I bought you because I needed a ship to haul cargo. I never expected to end up doing this. Are you disappointed? Hammerfall asked. Daesung laughed. Disappointed? No, this is the most important thing I've ever done. Helping people, saving lives, giving hope to those who have none. How could I be disappointed?